Do you want to bring destruction and hell all over your enemies while also being the top DPS in every meter? Then you are where you need to be, because with Quicks you will learn how to rain fire on everything around with your Destruction Warlock. As a bringer of destruction, like most of the other classes, your goal will be to generate soul shards and consume them with heavy hitting spells. Your main generator will be Immolate. On a relatively short cast time, it will deal a small amount of damage and will leave a big dot on your target. Whenever the dot hits, your target will generate a shard fragment with a heavy chance of generating 1 extra fragment when it crits. Incinerate is next and will generate 2 shard fragments when it hits your target, again awarding 1 more if it crits. Finally, Conflagrate will be your instant spell with 2 charges that will hit your target for a decent amount, reduce the cast time of your Incinerate or Chaos Bolt, and generate 5 fragments when used. You'll also have some long recharging spells which we refer to as cooldowns that aid in shard generation. One such important cooldown is the Summon Infernal one that will help you with the soul shard fragment generation by awarding 1 fragment every 0.5 seconds while the Infernal lasts. When you reach 10 soul shard fragments, you'll get 1 shard, and you can use those shards for heavy hitting spells like Chaos Bolt. This will cost 2 shards to cast as a big ass bolt that will devastate your enemies. It'll always crit and will deal extra damage depending on your critical rating. Your AoE shards consumer will be Rain of Fire, and this will be the onion for other classes, as they will always cry when they see it obliterating your enemies. Jokes aside, it will consume 3 shards and will make it rain with fire on your enemies, and thanks to some neat talents, Inferno plus Soul Conduit, you will be pressing it non-stop in AoE. You can also use 1 shard to summon the demon of your choice depending on the situation. As a Destro Warlock, your Mastery Chaotic Energies will increase the damage of all of your spells by half of your Mastery stat percentage plus a random amount of the other half. It will also reduce the damage you take by a small amount plus again a random amount that cannot be higher than the first one. The Backdraft passive will store 1 charge of itself when you use your Conflagrate to a maximum of 2 charges that will reduce the cast time of your Chaos Bolt or Incinerate. Like the other Warlocks, you have access to the Soul Shards passive. We talked about it before. This will store up to 5 Soul Shards that you can use for the heavy hitting spells we talked about earlier, and you will passively generate up to 3 shards while out of combat. You also have the Soul Leech passive that will make the single target damage dealt by you or your minion grant you and your main demon a small shield. And again, like all Warlocks, you have the Demonic Embrace passive that grants you extra 10% stamina. Your cooldown kit is not the biggest in town, but will be very strong. It will start with Summon Infernal, and as the name implies, an Infernal will fall from the sky, damaging and stunning enemies in a small area. While this Infernal lasts, it will damage nearby enemies while generating shard fragments, and thanks to a nice talent, Reign of Chaos, as long as it lasts, you can summon more Infernals by spending shards. Havoc will be the next cooldown on the list. On a short recharge time, it will mark a target and it will cause all of your single target spells to also hit that target for reduced damage. More importantly, it will increase your shard generation if you decide to cast the respective spells while Havoc is up. This Warlock is an easy to learn spec. It has good sustained single target damage with powerful cleave bursts thanks to Havoc. The AoE damage is very high during Summon Infernal with lots of talents to back it up. Your defenses are few but very strong, as you found out about them in the cooldowns and passive section. Don't worry, as your self-sustain has your back when shit hits the fan with Drain Life, Hellstones, and talents like Mortal Coil that can also horrify the target, Demon Skin, or Dark Pact to make you tankier. Your utility will be godlike and very wanted in raids or dungeons. You have a combat resurrect ability with Soul Stone. You help everyone stay alive thanks to Create Soul Well that gives everyone access to the Hellstones discussed earlier. You can summon people with the Ritual of Summoning when they get lost or lazy. Your Warlock can stun everyone around with Shadow Fury. It can fear some with the spell bearing the same name, and even banish a demon, aberration, or elemental. Like all other Warlocks, your demon starting with the Fell Hunter can interrupt the target with his spell lock ability, and it can purge your enemies with a Devour magic spell. Your Succubus and Incubus can seduce your target, disorienting it. You also have access to curses, reducing the enemy's attack speed with Curse of Weakness, their spellcasting speed with Curse of Tongues, or their movement speed with Curse of Exhaustion. Your mobility is great and can even help your group cheese some mechanics thanks to the Demonic Gateway. You also have access to Demonic Circle and its teleport teleport ability. Add to that the Burning Rush talent and you will never cry for mobility ever again. Maybe only a little. With all these benefits, you'll have some weaknesses as well. You lack immunity, unlike your mages and priests counterparts. You don't really have a single target cooldown, as Summon Infernal is more powerful in AoE. Movement will be your downfall in single target situations as well, as you only have Conflagrate as an instant spell. You can argue that the 2-step bonus from the tier set can negate this a little with an instant Chaos Bolt from time to time, but it's still not that powerful. We hope you liked this quick guide on how to bring destruction to your enemies with your Warlock. When leaving the safety of your capital city with it, use this talent build to help you in every situation, and it will be more powerful when you get access to your tier set. You can swap to Cataclysm if you want more single target damage. For more details like this, also regarding legendaries, rotation, covenants, and more, don't hesitate to check out our main Destro guide. Until next time, bye!